But let's get right into the first topic today, which is why I want everyone around the table to get in on this. So there's a man by the name of Manny, and on Sunday, he witnessed something that really shook him to the fact where he needed to step in and try to stop it. And we're talking about a potential human trafficking situation. So he was at Rainbow Mart. This is on Marysville Boulevard near I-80. And again, this was on Sunday, and he saw a little girl, 9 years old, run into the store. She was very scared. She even used her words and said, "Someone's trying to kidnap me." You know, this is not verbatim, but something's going on. So he goes outside, sees what's happening, and this woman by the name of Latorian Beaver was trying to force this little girl into her car. Well, Manny was not going to have it. He stood there and was like, "What are you saying? Let's go ahead and play the sound where we can hear him." And he's recording on this woman who's trying to take the girl.
Why you trying to take the little girl, though? Hey, you gonna run me over, I tell you that shit right now. Why you trying to take the little girl, though? Who shooting you?
Okay, so this goes on, and he's saying, "No, not on my clock. I'm going to stand here till you stop this situation." So Latorian Beaver ends up going away and not taking this little girl. Well, her mother, I don't know if she called her mom on her way leaving this situation, but her mother shows up to the scene.
The mother of this woman.
The mother of this woman, Latorian, shows up and says, my daughter was just making a wrong decision. She was trying to help this girl. We don't know the full story as to what happened to this little girl. She was trying to help this little girl. Sorry, like she wasn't, this isn't any sketchy situation. It's not human trafficking, if you will. And so now Latorian is held in custody because they're saying that this was potential kidnapping, false imprisonment, and attempted kidnapping. Her next court date is on Thursday, so we'll have to wait and see what happens to her. But scary situation, and it begs the question, if you were to see or hear a little person, or even an adult being kidnapped, would you step in and try to resolve the situation, or would you just go, "Oh, not my problem"? Because he potentially stopped a human trafficking incident from happening.
Where's the girl's mom, the 9-year-old girl's mom?
Again,
she's
not
just
quite sure on the story.
Going into a market by herself. That's a
or was she coming in from, was she being pulled in from somewhere else?
9 years old is not, I mean, if it's around the corner, it's not totally unreasonable that a 9-year-old could go to the corner
but around
store
the corner,
and get
that's
something to
fine.
drink.
Yeah.
I walked around the neighborhood when I was that age. Me and my cousins all the time walked to the mall.
The first thing I thought about when I heard this story is you're taught as an adult and as a child, one, stranger danger, so you wouldn't get into a car with a stranger. Then the girl is said to run into the market and say, "Hey, somebody is literally trying to take me." You want to take that 9-year-old's word. You want to take her word at it.
That is happening.
How would an adult feel comfortable, if this girl was even in distress, how do you as an adult feel comfortable bringing them into your car? Make that child feel comforted in the space outside of the car.
Exactly.
I feel like you're
Leads us to
introducing
think,
them to
right?
another situation that could be detrimental to both of you at that point.
Yeah.
Well, the things working against her story of that she was just trying to help was, did you see how she took off right afterwards?
Yeah.
They look for it. It's really difficult to try and pick out people's intentions. But if there's a moment where there's what they try and prove in court is a consciousness of guilt, that's the only kind of thing that you can look for. So that would be probably why she's still behind bars right now while they investigate and try and figure out what happened there. Because there's two different stories. Who do you believe? Obviously, the girl was terrified, so she was not a willing person thinking that this person was there to help her. But again, she's under arrest, so we're going to find out more about this.
On Thursday. Walt, we were having a conversation about human trafficking, not only in this country, but in our state of California. Some would say, is human trafficking in California that big of a deal? Yes, it is. And you were reading about a statistic, correct?
I've done this story many times on the Sacramento region, and I think we said earlier that it may not be the hugest deal in Sacramento. You know, according to the FBI in 2016, we're number 2 in the country for human sex trafficking, which makes it a pretty big deal. The reason why is that we're at the confluence of highways 50 and 80 and Interstate 5, and a lot of these girls are shipped via vehicle or whatever, and this is a major area where all of these roads come through. And I would tell you, and we saw the videotape of the little girl here, and I'm not judging the situation, but many girls who are kidnapped and trafficked and get into the system years later are recruited to do the same to other girls. Now, I don't know what was going on in this scenario, but that looked like the type of a scenario that it could have been, where you have girls who get into the system, they go out and for their boss, whoever you want to call them, they go out and recruit other girls to become who they used to be. That looked like it could have been something like that.
Like maybe potentially
Recruiting.
Latorian was sex trafficked.
I'm
this
saying,
is
I'm
the
saying,
next generation.
I'm being very careful to not speak to that situation.
Sure.
But that situation, as it appeared, happens, and that's how that goes. Because I've done interviews with women who got out of the system, and they talked about what it was like in the system.
Right.
And that type of a scenario that we saw is very common.
My question is, with Latorian's mother coming into the picture, was this really her mother?
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said,
For
we don't-
emergency contact.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I
No,
don't
no,
even
no,
know
I'm
that
saying-
that is like the key to this story. We're in an era right now where sex, talking about it, sexual impropriety is huge in the news right now. And we even have Nexium. And what's his name? Keith Raniere, the owner or the leader of Nexium, which is that sex trafficking.
Allison Mack.
Exactly. What are we doing as a society to make sure that this doesn't happen in our area? Why is Sacramento number 2? You were telling me why you think it could be the number 2 spot in the country for
was
something
according
like
to
this.
the FBI. Yeah, it wasn't what I thought. They said that.
I think
No,
does
but
it
you were
start
saying
here
the
with
confluence of the 3
That
different
was their
intersections
theory.
of the
Is
highway.
that, yeah, absolutely. It is a very big area, being on the West Coast, and you have a lot of sex trafficking. L.A. North, San Francisco, Sacramento, and when you talk about going back and forth from L.A. to the northern part of the country, everything runs through Sacramento. You can't avoid it if you're going to Los Angeles from other parts.
Right.
If you're coming from the East Coast to the West Coast, you're going to run through Sacramento. If you're going to San Francisco, it's the perfect opportunity to do something like this, and that's why we do have a big problem here with sex trafficking.
And for the longest time, we had talked about, right, in Sacramento, that Sacramento was just that stop. SoCal to Tahoe, Sacramento was just that stop. So it's under the radar. Now we're blowing up as a town. We're in the news a whole lot more. We had 2 huge cases in the past 2 months happening right here in our backyard. But going back to your question, bringing up what are we doing to prevent this from happening in the future, or to stop bringing these numbers down, if not all the way down? People like Manny Cota setting the example. You see something, you say something. You see something happening, because he could have potentially stopped a long chain of really bad things from happening.
You hope so.
And you hope so, but I think that is where you start. And it's an eye-opening to me to just be a little bit more aware. I remember being in Vegas recently. And I was with my friend James, and we were in the elevator, and it was a long way down. We're at Circus, the very top. We're going down, and something seemed a little off. There was this kid there, and there were 2 adults there, and then I'm sure the kid was just the family because he was close to them. But just something seemed off. And to this day, James and I look at each other and go, so we should have followed. We should have done something. We should have followed that couple. I don't know. Just something weird was happening. Even if it turns out that nothing bad was happening, at least you're aware as human beings to look out for one another and look out for the kids.
There's, I think something that we really need to be more in tune with is our gut reaction. Now, sometimes your gut reaction is the wrong one. You overreact to things, but there are windows of opportunity where you can get yourself involved and still be helpful, but not assume too much and then take it to a whole different level. For example, I was at the Carlsbad flower farm, and I was there, and I was at the playground, and this grandma had this look on her face, and she was going through the bushes. You could just tell she was looking for somebody. And I said, are you okay? Are you missing a kid? She said, but she was kind of embarrassed because she was grandma. And she goes, yeah, I don't know. I just took my eyes off her for 1 second. I said, what does she look like? And I just said, hang on a second. Let's just look. I feel like in that moment, that was appropriate. I wasn't assuming more than that. I wasn't assuming less than that. And I think that's just the base level as a human. If you see somebody going through a moment, for example, he points out that for the 9-year-old that she was terrified. That was his first point of contact. And he decided, and that's not to say that it's all of our jobs now next to bring out a cell phone and have a confrontation, because you don't know where that's going to go next. But as a base level, if you see somebody in distress, it is okay to just ask what's going on. And then you can decide at that point how much further you want to get involved. But I feel like as a society, what you don't want to happen is you clearly see somebody in distress and say, that's none of my business, because you know what? Sure, it is none of your business, but that's an opportunity, maybe a missed opportunity, where you could at least ask, is everything okay? And then how they answer that question will say a lot.
And so we asked you guys a question: would you feel comfortable, or would you jump in to help somebody in that situation? And you guys have been chiming in. So Nancy Mayberry, I got your comment first. You said, yes, I would definitely do what I could to help anyone being kidnapped, even if it was just to call 911 and get a description of the person and the car. That's actually very smart. The van, truck, whatever they're doing, don't put yourself in danger, but of course, if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
But then Griselda says, nowadays, it's a lot worse than when we were young. And she looks to be in her 30s, so around our age. And she says she doesn't let her sons who are 9 and 11 walk to the corner store. The world is a scary place. You just don't know what could happen.
Right. Totally understandable because of stories like this.
Yes.
Now, parents watching this or hearing about it saying, wait a second, I just let my daughter or my son go to the corner store yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to do that. It's totally understandable.
Yeah,
But
I
then
think
there's
there,
also the-
there are certain neighborhoods where
It's
you know
okay.
stranger danger doesn't exist, and you can't always assume the kids get the message from their parents. 9, 8, 7, 6-year-olds could be going to 7-Elevens in a lot of neighborhoods in the county. You know, and it's like it doesn't. We wish it were better, but it's not. And I think some parents aren't there at all. Some kids are out there, and those are the ones that are most in danger.
Right.
Is the 9-year-old, 8-year-old that's going to a store unsupervised, and that's where these people prey on these kids, especially in neighborhoods where you think you might be able to swipe a couple of them. So what happened probably happens a lot. In this case, somebody got stopped, allegedly. I mean, this woman that we're talking about, the suspect, she's being charged, right? She's being held for kidnapping charges.
Yeah.
They're not just going to do that.
In
Right.
custody on charges of false imprisonment and attempted kidnapping.
Yeah.
Her next court date is Thursday.
So there was, that was a good save by the guy.
So to my question of what could we be doing, what should we be doing, we have people chiming in the comment section. Justin Watson saying that women, you should all take jujitsu classes and or obtain your CCW license. He's saying, why outsource your and your family's safety when you can take your matters into your own hands and at least protect yourself?
Yeah.
Right. But in that case, I don't think a 9-year-old physically could overpower somebody kidnapping her, number
Right.
one. And number two, I don't believe as a 9-year-old you're allowed to have a concealed carry permit.
No,
for a weapon.
I think the
so there's more
self-defense.
to it.
Self-defense is one,
Self-defense.
and for teenage girls who might be slight, you can always walk with mace at night, or if you feel threatened, you can be aware. Be aware. Don't walk from house to house at night. Ask for somebody to take you, but obviously, carry a little mace spray. Learn self-defense, even if it's simple. Where do you kick a guy if you feel threatened and he's grabbing you? Use your elbow or your knee. It could be something as simple like that that could save your life.
I mean, shoot, this was a woman.
Yeah.
A woman
Correct.
Doing to another
potentially
little girl,
harming
yeah.
a little girl.
Right.
But I do want to address a concern in our comments. Our comment section keeps going in and out of activity in terms of it goes blank and then the comments come back. You guys are still getting your comments through. We see them coming in. It's just whatever is happening on your computers or laptops. It's a little glitchy, but keep commenting because we see them coming through.
Yes, David Wong especially. I know you raised the concern too. All of you see the comments we're making on this
Yes.
thread. They keep disappearing from me. Maybe
We
it's a
see them.
sign. I socially network too much. While we
It's
enjoy
not our
you.
choice. We're not deleting comments.
Yeah,
we never
yeah.
do that. So.
Yes, absolutely. And right on Rob says Gerald DeCiccio, whatever you had said there. Yes, I would. I would hope so. Someone would do the same for me. And then we had someone else in here saying that, you know what, thank goodness for Manny.
Exactly.
So just a shout out to Manny.
He possibly saved a life.
Exactly.
And again, and we all know this. When you interact with people, you know when something's up. You know when people are scared. People are naturally are not. They're not acting in some of these, especially young people. So if they look scared and something looks off, sometimes they're scared. They're just scared to say what they're really feeling and what's going on.
Yep.
Just get them. Say, are you okay? What's going on? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
That's not overstepping boundaries. That's not. You're not offending them. You're just asking, is everything okay?
Exactly.
It's okay to do that because you never know what's going to happen next.
And you would hope too. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a parent yet, but you know, all three of you can help us better understand this side of it. How about if you were the parent and the kid was, for whatever reason, you guys got into an altercation. Your child is maybe acting out and wanted to hold a grudge against mom and dad and do something. Someone else got in between you and your kid and started accusing you of something that was not actually happening. How would you feel?
Well, I mean, you just have to explain yourself. I mean, if there's something going down and you interject yourself into that situation, and you see that sometimes. Sometimes you see, say, a parent at Target that's really disciplining their kid extreme in the aisle, and you feel like you want to say something, and that's one of those situations where it's not really a crime, but you just feel this this emotion, it starts with your emotions. You can't really control your emotions. It's how you feel, right? But it's what you do next that can really determine a lot.
But it's their kid, though.
But
Right.
you
You
know
know what I've done in
and
that
that's a
scenario?
different situation.
I've said, hey, you need some help. Do you
To the
need some
parent.
help? Which means I'm saying, hey, what's going on?
And I have
That's my intro.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you need some help? And then see what they say. But if it's their kid, it's sort of their business. I mean,
Right.
we've all said things in the middle of a grocery store when the kid is out of control. That if other people were watching me, it's not my best moment, believe me.
Yeah.
But I think it's how
Yes.
it's, hey, do you need some help? Which is like saying, hey, knock it off, in a way.
How has that worked for you in the past?
It's been fine because that's the easiest way to weasel your way into a situation that's none of your business.
Right.
Can I help you? It disarms the person that you're saying it to.
You're saying it
Where you're not
nicely.
going like, hey man, don't grab your kid like that in the store.
Right.
Hey man, do you need some help?
Right.
I'm a parent. You get,
feel you.
you want me to watch him for a second while you go lift that thing off the shelf, and then you can kind of, it may end there.
Right.
Or I may go to a security guy if it doesn't end there and say, hey, there's a situation in aisle 6 that you may want to check out.
And
Yeah.
again, because we did. It's not your choice. You just come across these things in life, and
Yeah.
I think that that's great advice.
Right.
I've never heard that put it that way, but now I know that I have at least one fallback, go-to, innocuous way of saying, "Hey, do you need help?"
That's
Yeah.
one thing I learned from a coworker at another TV station.
Really?
Like, hold on, if you have a problem with management, something that they're doing,
Stop it.
you don't complain. You just go in and say, hey, can you help me with a situation?
I
And
like
that
it.
way it totally disarms the manager, and they're not like all put off by you going, hey, Rob's really bugging me. I go in and go, hey, can you help me with the situation? They're like, yeah, I'd love to help you. What is it? And then I say, Rob's really bugging me. But my first,
It's a good intro.
my first contact was a good one, totally disarming.
Yep.
You guys can use that
I love
one.
it. Our
Anyway,
GM,
so where
Risa
were we?
Omega,
Thank
is
you.
watching, so this is a
Yeah.
perfect time to bring up these
Nice.
problems
Very
that we're
nice.
having.
And one more time before we end this conversation, for those who are just entering it, you've heard the second half of what it is we are saying, and you didn't have a chance to see that video or to hear that video. Let's go ahead and roll it one more time. And this is a request from Molly White.
Hey, why you trying to take the little girl though? Hey, you gonna run me over? I tell you that shit right now. Why you trying to take the little girl though? Who is she to you?
Again, that was Manny.
Who is she to you is the
Who is
there's
she? That's a
question
good
number
question.
one.
Smart.
Right.
Ruben.
And if
Good
you can't
answer.
answer that quickly or you stumble on that,
You're looking
then,
down at your phone.
then
Yeah.
he's on to something.
Right. Yep.
And he was on to
And he
something.
was.
That was the
And
perfect question
now,
to
yeah.
ask.
Who is she to
Right,
you?
and as the tape continues to roll, you'll see her speed away from the
Yep.
scene immediately.
Where
And
was the girl at that point?
I
Did she
believe
get out?
in the
she-
convenience store.
All right.
Just waiting.
She got out of the car.
So keep
Right.
commenting right now. Yes, let us know how you feel about this situation, and we'll jump in the comments and keep going with this.
All right. We're
Okay.
good. I'm going to go ask a manager.
Thanks for watching us here on the ABC 10 Information Network. If you want to see more stories just like this one, click subscribe.